Wellness with Paul Rosen.
Our diets, our Western diets in America are just really, you just don't realize how poor they really are.
What would you say to others who would like to feel better?
Sometimes you need to find the instructions. That's where the testing and everything comes in, because without that knowledge, there's no way I could have got to the point where I'm at today.
Straight talk about health.
And then I start preaching and telling them what I've been doing. And this guy named Paul Rosen has changed my life.
With your host, Paul Rosen.
By the way, the information contained in this program is not approved by the FDA, nor intended to treat, diagnose, or claim to cure any medical condition or disease as defined by Western medicine. However, skilled practitioners of many disciplines have found nutrition response testing to be a highly reliable supportive technology for assessing the health and fitness of the body's functional system.
So let's get right to it, Paul. What's this thing about milk? We give milk to our babies. Kids are encouraged to drink milk throughout their childhoods. I was one of those kids. But is milk really good for us?
Not really.
Okay. So what are the alternatives?
Not that dairy milk is bad for you, but the raw dairy product is absolutely more nutrient dense.
Raw dairy product.
Unpasteurized.
Okay.
Is that unboiled, uncooked.
Is that available also at most grocery stores, or do I have to go to a specialty store to find that?
I know that Chuck's carries raw milk. It's very difficult. That's in Washington. It's very difficult to find raw milk in a store in Oregon. But there's plenty of farmers, who will sell it to you. But raw cheese is plentiful.
Really?
Raw cheese.
So raw
cheese made from raw milk.
What about raw dairy products in general? Milk and cheese. Okay, there are those. Are there others we should be looking for in raw form?
What do you mean?
Well, other dairy products.
Any dairy product.
Okay.
Cottage cheese, generally speaking, is kind of a filler product. It's not a very good product overall. Certainly what's available in stores, because there's a lot of additives in cottage cheese to make it look like it does. And
that just came off the top of my head.
Yes,
I think this stuff is terrible.
Slid right off.
Right. And I also think it's kind of like just, filler, as you said. You put it on as a garnish.
It's a convenient food, so lots of people sort of think that it's a healthy food, but if you have your choice, I would make another choice than that.
And so why then is raw milk better?
Well, there are a lot of reasons. Most of it clinical. When you pasteurize milk, you basically destroy an enzyme which is responsible for aiding the absorption of calcium, in the body. And so, if you destroy that enzyme, then you make it much more difficult for the calcium to be absorbed in the body. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, it actually tends to be more prone to contain bacteria that shouldn't be there than raw milk. Number three, there's a lot more sugar involved. Raw milk usually is whole milk. It's not, half and 2% or skim or whatever.
Right.
And those are products you should never drink. If you're gonna gradiently, if you're not not willing to find out what your specific uniquenesses are, whether or not dairy is good for you or not, then at least stick with a whole milk product, not a skim milk product.
Are there any drawbacks to raw milk?
The source is really important. You got to make sure you get it from a clean source. Otherwise, you can have a problem.
Okay, so investigate who you're buying from, right?
Exactly. Really important. The source is really important, but Chuck's carries it, and they do their homework, and so, yeah.
Are there other kinds of milk we can?
I don't really recommend that people drink a lot of milk anyway. I mean, you're not an infant anymore. Milk is not essential.
No, fair enough.
But milk is not essential for a diet.
But let's just say it's a small part of anybody's diet. We had Mark call a while ago about cereal. Let's say somebody enjoys cereal 2-3 times a week. They're going to want some milk with that. So let's just make sure they're getting the right milk, right?
Indeed.
Okay, there you go. So what else do we have on the menu, on the healthy menu, in the way of milk? Do we want milk from certain sources. We talked about goat's milk, raw milk.
Right. Alternatives. There are the alternatives out there: almond milk, soy milk, and what else? What else we got?
Almond milk, soy milk. I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you. You're the one that prepared for this segment. Coconut milk is
Okay,
another.
there you go.
The problem with most of these products, first of all, soy milk, just out and out avoid it. Never drink it. Don't even imagine about it. Just 100% leave it alone.
So
That's one thing I can say.
Okay, soy, if it's got soy in it, we don't want it. So
Other than miso, natto, and tempeh.
well, there's always an exception, I guess. So what about almond milk and coconut milk?
The problem with those two products commercially is that, generally speaking, they're made in the same facility as something like soy milk. So there is a cross-contamination factor.
Really? And that's the biggest problem with them?
Yes, and you won't know. Plus, you don't know what kind of water is being used. Right? If it's just commercial water straight out of the tap, then you've got the same problems of chlorination, fluoridation. Not fluoridation in Portland, because they're, in the good sense of the public at large, they've managed to prevent that from happening. But in Washington, that's not true.
And you kind of touched on this point yourself, Paul, in an indirect way. But if it's kids who are drinking the most milk, should we be concerned about them drinking raw milk, or are there any drawbacks to that?
Again, the drawback is you got to know the source. But other than that, absolutely not. There isn't any drawback. In fact, that would be the milk to use. Going back to the almond and coconut milk, really, quite frankly, it's very easy to make. And we have recipes on our website to make it.
So you can avoid all those drawbacks.
So you can avoid all those drawbacks, because almond milk is an extremely healthy milk. Coconut milk is an extremely healthy milk, especially when you start with the highest grade product.
And what kind of?
So you can use filtered water, right, or spring water to make any of those.
And what kind of expense would you be looking at if you're going to go this way?
Oh, I don't know.
Making your own stuff.
It doesn't matter. Honestly, it really doesn't matter. I mean, how much is your health worth?
Put a dollar value on that.
Exactly right.
And
because it's like anything, big picture, right? When you're eating foods, if you think that the difference between the price of organic food and commercial food is that great, right? It's the collateral damage ultimately that adds up. So, and I know it pushes people's pockets a little bit, but if you can see your way, definitely eat organic. If not, there's a great website, EWG, Environmental Working Group. I think it's .com, might be .net. Anyway, you can look it up on the web. And they have some very good guidelines. They call it the Clean 15, which is our vegetables and fruits that, when grown commercially, have the least amount of contamination. And you can find that on the web. Is it ewg.org is what it is.
There you go. It's not .com. In fact, that web domain is for sale if you want to go out and buy it.
All right. ewg.org.
There you go.
That's
so
what it is.
Go ahead and go there. They have all this information about the various milks you can try, and these are really healthy alternatives to the stuff you may buy right off the shelf.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is you can use Tropical Traditions coconut to make the coconut milk, and get yourself. There's organic almonds available in many, many places. You can make your own. Yes, it takes some time. I get it. It's not as convenient, but it's these extra little steps that one might take that really supercharge whatever efforts you might make to either restore your health or maintain your health.
One more note, you can get a free chapter of Paul Rosen's book, The Missing Piece. Just go to his website, acunatural.com, acunatural.com, and fill out the dialog box that pops up. Rest assured, no information you provide will ever be shared with anyone else. So, what are you waiting for? Get going on your personal road to wellness today.